All right, if you're a parent, you absolutely know that crazy mix of excitement and sheer panic when your kid gets invited to their first sleepover. Honestly, half the time the parents are way more anxious than the kids are. So, in today's explainer, we're going to build a bulletproof game plan for your child's night away. We are going straight to the clinical research to equip you with the absolute warmest, most supportive, and evidence-based strategies to make sure their time away from home is a massive success.
Okay, we're going to kick things off by teasing a massive, well-intentioned mistake that so many of us loving parents make. There is a very specific phrase, a promise, really, that feels incredibly comforting to say in the moment, but actually sets your child up for a guaranteed sleepover disaster. We're going to reveal this trapdoor phrase at the very end of our time together, so definitely stick with me for that. But to understand why it's such a trap, we first need to understand what's actually happening in your child's brain when they sleep away from you.
Section 1. The homesickness reality. Let's take a second to normalize the fear. The absolute most crucial point here, homesickness isn't some character flaw or a sign of weakness. It's actually a clinical, incredibly common psychological construct. It's simply defined as the distress and preoccupation caused by separation from home and attachment figures. When your child is away from you, their primary source of safety, their brain registers that absence. That distress, that's homesickness. And it's a perfectly natural, hardwired human response.
Listen, it's so important to remember that almost every single kid is going to feel at least a little bit of homesickness. It's largely predictable. But here's the really empowering part for us as adults. Preparation strongly reduces its intensity. We don't have to just cross our fingers and hope for the best. With the right super prep, we can actively turn down the volume on that distress and really help them shine.
So, why does this distress even happen in the first place? Well, it essentially boils down to three main things. First, the perceived gap between home and the new place. And by the way, that's not necessarily how far away they are geographically, but just how different the environment feels. Second is low prior experience with separation. If they've never practiced, it just feels way scarier, kind of like jumping into the deep end of a pool without learning to float first. And third, the child's own expectations. Kids who expect to feel awful or who haven't practiced nights away will naturally struggle more. It literally becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Moving on to Section 2. Spotting the readiness signs. How do we know if your child is actually ready?
There's a huge difference between a kid who's genuinely ready and one who's secretly terrified and just trying to please you. Here is your evidence-based checklist. Number 1. Can they settle to sleep with a non-parent? 2. Have they already successfully managed a low-stakes night at a grandparent's or a close family friend's house? 3. Can they use their voice to express basic needs like telling another adult they're thirsty or need to use the bathroom? And most importantly, look at their emotional baseline. Are they showing curiosity about the sleepover or absolute dread? If they're curious, that is your green light.
Section 3. A proven preparation plan. This is all about setting them up for total success.
Okay, here are the 3 pillars of our prep plan. Step 1. Practice nights away. This is actually the single best predictor of how well a child will cope. Start small, with a grandparent or really close friend. Step 2 is to pre-agree on a plan for the night. And Step 3 is all about how you present it. You want to frame it positively and briefly. Don't linger on it and turn it into this massive, heavy conversation. Step 3 relies entirely on you, the caregiver, modeling calm, warm confidence. Because if you're anxious, they are going to absorb that anxiety like a total sponge.
Let's zoom in on that pre-agreed plan for a second. What does it actually look like? Well, a solid game plan includes packing a comfort object, like a familiar blanket or a favorite stuffed animal. It includes establishing a set bedtime routine that mimics home as closely as possible. And crucially, it includes an explicit understanding that the grown-up at the house will help you if you need it. Pre-agreeing on this predictable and secure game plan gives them a massive boost of security. It basically replaces the terrifying unknown with a really clear roadmap.
Section 4. The rescue promise trap. Let's talk about that well-meaning mistake I mentioned earlier.
If you feel bad, I'll come straight away. Or call me and I'll come get you. It is literally the most natural thing in the world for a loving parent to offer that safety net, right? But the research is crystal clear on this. This is the one thing that actually makes homesickness worse. When you say this, you are quietly telling your child that you don't actually think they can do it. You are accidentally cueing them to expect failure.
Here's the thing, offering a rescue hatch actually turns the whole night into a miserable countdown to escape. The child isn't engaging with their friends or having a good time. They're just sitting there monitoring their own anxiety, basically waiting for it to get bad enough to pull the ripcord and call you. On the flip side, arming them with confidence and a solid plan sets an expectation of success and resilience. Confidence plus a plan will absolutely beat a rescue hatch every single time.
Finally, Section 5. Knowing the safety line. When is it time to step back?
The totally crucial point here is that there's a massive difference between normal, manageable homesickness and genuine, severe distress. You never want to force a kid who clearly isn't ready. If they're showing absolute dread, listen to them. Pushing them through severe distress is completely counterproductive, and it can set their confidence back immensely. Baby steps are totally okay and deeply encouraged. Just build up gradually, at their own pace.
And you know, if you start noticing that this fear of separation is persistent, and it's actually impairing their daily life or development, that's your cue to step back. Persistent, impairing separation fear absolutely warrants professional input. It is incredibly proactive and healthy to seek a professional's guidance rather than trying to diagnose it alone. Never try to diagnose it yourself. Use the experts to help your child thrive.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to ask yourself a question the next time your kid packs their overnight bag. Are you offering a rescue hatch that sets up a countdown to escape? Or are you providing the preparation, the practice, and the plan for a beautiful night of confidence? I really hope these insights empower you to rethink that rescue promise, lean into the readiness checklist, and confidently prepare your child for an amazing, growth-filled night away. Thanks for joining me.